The biggest misconception is that people think subscription box businesses aren't profitable. And that's the biggest myth of all, because we're profitable month one. It depends how you're running your business. There are some of the larger subscription businesses that believe you have to hit X number to be profitable, and they run their business that way. But we really teach to be profitable on month one, and that's not overspending on packaging, not overspending on the size of the box, because that costs a lot of money. The packaging, the shipping, just all of that. So it's really a whole series of learning how to put together the perfect subscription box with what are you going to put in it? How can those items be cost effective? We've got to have a stable profit margin because we have to make this a sustainable business. So it's buying correctly, ordering in bulk, buying packaging correctly.
Welcome to the Ecommerce Marketing Podcast, the highly rated digital marketing podcast that provides weekly digital marketing tips and strategies from some of the world's top digital marketers and e-commerce entrepreneurs that will help you take your digital marketing to the next level. Sit back and enjoy this power-packed episode hosted by Arlen Robinson, who is an e-commerce entrepreneur and digital marketing expert with over 20 years of experience. Hey, e-commerce marketing podcast listener. Are you looking to increase traffic and sales to your website? You can do this by launching your own affiliate program. Just visit getosi.com and sign up for a free trial today. That's getosi.com. Now get ready to hear from your e-commerce marketing expert of the week as they drill down to give you details on marketing strategies that can help grow your business.
Welcome back to the e-commerce podcast, everyone. My name is Arlen and I'm your host. Today, we've got a very special guest, Sarah Williams, who is considered the subscription box queen. She is a powerhouse entrepreneur, coach, and best-selling author. Sarah also propels businesses to new heights by sharing her proven strategies in her acclaimed book, One Box at a Time. It's published by Hay House. Unlike typical coaches, Sarah doesn't just teach, she actively manages her thriving subscription box business, offering real world insights. So I'm really excited to talk to her because we're going to be diving deep into the entire subscription box concept for e-commerce businesses. So welcome to the podcast, Sarah.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, and I'm excited to talk to you. And today, like I said, we're going to be talking about your bread and butter, which is subscription boxes, which I think it's a timely topic. Right now, we're recording this at the top of the year, new year, 2025 in January, and we just kind of got over the holidays and e-commerce businesses. I know, of course, had been scrambling and probably are still scrambling to probably fill orders from the holiday and maybe from the holiday and kind of get caught up on things. And subscription boxes, I think, are a very interesting concept, and a lot of businesses are prospering from it. So I think wanted to start with just, really what inspired you to start your subscription box business yourself, and, how did you evolve that into the best-selling book and your entire coaching platform?
The whole thing, right?
Yes, exactly.
So I had a local brick and mortar gift store. I typically sold graphic tees, tumblers, accessories, purses, a lot of girly things. And so I was a very early adopter of Facebook Lives when they, came out 10, 15 years ago. And so I would show up live and I would talk about the new things in my shop. I was just purely local. I did not have an online presence at all. And what I realized is I was having a customer come into my shop probably on average about once a month. And they'd be like, oh, I saw these cute things, but I would typically be sold out of whatever I was showing on that live for that particular week. And so at that point, I thought, I want to create something where these people that come in all the time, they get to feel like the VIP of my business. They get first access, they get exclusivity, and I want to put it in the form of a subscription box. And at that time, there weren't really a lot of smaller businesses doing subscription boxes. It was the big players. It was like FabFitFun and Birchbox, and all the big players were doing the subscription boxes, but you really didn't see that from small businesses. So I was really unsure how I was going to make this work. And at that time, like I said, I wasn't online. So I thought, I'll just do it my way. I'll do it local. I'll create a subscription box. And in order to do the payments, I realized I needed to be online. So that was my first little, toe dip into the e-commerce world. And I realized it was opening up a whole new world for me. So I started my subscription box. I started small. I was like, if I could sell 50, that would be great. And my big, huge goal would be if I could have 100 subscribers, that would pay my rent and my one employee. That was like my fixed expenses, my rent, utilities, and my one employee. If I could do that, then everything that just came in, foot traffic was cherry on top. And so that was how I started out. I did get 44 subscribers on my first launch, and the next month I had 100 subscribers. Like I was thinking it was going to take me all year to get 100 subscribers. And so that started to compound on each other. And by the end of the year, I had over 600 subscribers, monthly subscribers. And so we carried that on. I'm now into the thousands of monthly subscribers. I'm no longer have the brick and mortar. I'm in a full warehouse now. But through the process of me growing very quickly, people were in my DMs flooding me. How are you doing this? Where are you getting packaging? How are you finding so much product? And so that's where the coaching really sparked for me. I started to take on a couple clients, just one-on-one, and I helped them launch their subscription box. And after doing that, it felt like that was my purpose. It felt like that was what I was meant to be doing. Although I love my e-commerce business, the fulfillment I was getting from those people that I was consulting was just this greatest feeling. And so I took that on. I launched a program called Launch Your Box. I got 19 people signed up for it within the first year of having Launch Your Box. I had 2,000 people in my course, and the rest is history. And then that propelled me to be doing a lot of speaking events. At one of those speaking events, I was at Dean Graziosi's studio in Arizona, and I was speaking at an event there, and the CEO of Hay House was there, and he offered me a book deal on the spot. That's how the book came. And so, that's how it is all kind of propelled.
Tied together. Very, very impressive stuff. And it definitely sounds like, everything just snowballed from you, starting the subscription box concept and business for your brick and mortar business. And then it just seems like everything just naturally, got together and, I guess you could say took off from there. So interesting story. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's, like you said, it's kind of ironic that you weren't really even intending on doing the coaching. You probably hadn't even thought about writing a book.
No.
You just knew the subscription box was as kind of a supplement to your brick and mortar business. It was starting to take off. And I don't know, were you thinking that you were going to go all in on e-commerce and shut down your retail
absolutely
establishment?
Not until it started taking over the business. And now I still have my e-commerce shop aside from the subscription box, but now it's 75% of my monthly revenue.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's huge. That's definitely a big, a big chunk of your income. Now I know, of course, you're coaching businesses all the time. That's a lot of what you do, not only sustaining your own business. For the business owners that are out there that, like I said, we're just kind of coming off of the holidays, and businesses, I know e-commerce businesses were trying to do some unique things to sell more products. What would you say is just step one to kind of put together your own subscription box? If you're just looking at the outside in and have never done anything like this or never done any bundles, what do you have to really think about and consider first?
I think the first step is that if you already have a product-based business, that is like your first step, because there's so much data in your business that you can pull from. So the first thing that I would really do, if I have a product-based business and I'm thinking about doing a subscription box, I'm going to look at my best sellers. what are your top 3 categories in your shop? For me, that was graphic tees. At the time, it was our beverage where that's when Yetis were super popular. So it was the tumblers and it was jewelry. So I focused my whole subscription around my top 3 best-selling categories. Then I took my AOV and I said, okay, how much are people spending with me when they come in? That's how I priced my subscription box. And then from there, it was just getting it launched. It was like, okay, I'm going to create some exclusive things. They're going to be exclusive to the box, and I'm going to plan a launch for it.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So of course, the first thing is you have the product. You're looking at the data. One thing that I do wonder is because, there's a lot of business owners listening to this that are selling a variety of different products and even services. Are there certain types of businesses or types of products that are more that this works better for than others?
Something for me that I really talk to my students about is niching down. So it doesn't matter what kind of products you sell. It doesn't matter if you are more of a service-based business and you want to start to sell products. The more niche down that you can go, the better this is going to be for you, because we tend to think, I need to go broad, right? I need to be for all people. I need to have the most, the biggest audience I can find. And we're invisible when we do that. We're out in this space where there's a whole lot of noise. And if we can niche down, we can find our ideal customers so much better. My most successful students are in very specific niches. I'm talking about a guinea pig box. You think of all the pet boxes out there.
Yes.
The guinea pig box is super, super successful. I'm talking about a box for women dentists. That is very, very specific. When someone says, I want to do a box for moms, what kind of moms? Moms of teenagers, moms of toddlers, moms that work from home. Like, we have to niche down to find really the audience, because they won't be looking for you. Not all moms are out there looking for a subscription box. You're going to have to find an audience, and your messaging has to be so on point to that audience. And then that's how you're really going to be successful. So I talked to a guy that sold specific cigar accessories. Yes. What do they buy? What are they repeat buying? What would be collector's items for them? And how can you package that into a monthly, a bi-monthly, or a quarterly subscription box? So no matter what you sell, think about what is your best sellers, what's your average order value, and let's put together something. And you can test this. You could test this with one-time boxes. We did a lot of testing during the holidays, because that's a great way to test. But spring has a lot of holidays too. We have Valentine's Day, we have Mother's Day. Depending on your audience, there's a lot of spring holidays that you could do some testing with. But doing some gift boxes, see what sells, and then really just building a subscription based on that. Because what you think might be best for your subscription box is not always the right thing. We have to listen to our customers, and we have to keep asking questions. If I were to start a subscription box today, what would y'all want in it? And then we're just asking our customers over and over again, what do you want more of? What do you want less of? And I do a survey every year. And that's how my subscription box has evolved over these last 11 years, is I'm constantly asking them what they want. I'm just giving it to them.
Right. Yeah, very, very interesting. And I like the concept of testing it out, like you said, with just one-time boxes, because I could imagine business owners that haven't done it, maybe a little leery to kind of get everything going all at once and throwing it out there and just waiting to see what happens. It seems like that's a great way to test.
I've had a lot of students that's all they did was they sold one-time boxes, one-time boxes, one-time boxes. But they don't understand the benefit of that recurring revenue, because when we're talking about acquiring that customer to sell that one-time box, when you're acquiring your customer for a subscription box, you're only paying for that customer one time. And then for like me, my average is 18 months. People stay on average in my subscription box for 18 months. Do you know what it costs for me to get one person to have 18 purchases in my e-commerce shop? It would be very expensive. But
Yes.
the acquisition cost to get a subscriber one time, and then they're paying me 18 more times, like that is so beneficial to product-based businesses because our margins aren't huge. We don't have it's not like digital or service-based businesses where we have bigger margins. And so we have to really maximize acquiring that customer. And when you can acquire the customer with a subscription versus a one-time product, we're just more profitable on end right there.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, the money and the financial aspect of that just definitely makes sense. Like you said, the cost to acquiring, getting a customer to do repeat purchases outside of this one by one is, yeah, I mean, it just totally is it's a huge difference whether as opposed to just getting them into your subscription model. Now, I know you've dealt with a lot of different businesses when you're doing your coaching and you're on your podcast and you're advising. So I'm sure you get a ton of questions about how to put this all together. What would you say is the biggest misconception that you've heard from businesses that are looking to do this with regards to subscription boxes?
The biggest misconception is that people think subscription box businesses aren't profitable. And that's the biggest myth of all, because we're profitable month one. It depends how you're running your business. There are some of the larger subscription businesses that believe you have to hit X number to be profitable, and they run their business that way. But we really teach to be profitable on month one, and that's not overspending on packaging, not overspending on the size of the box, because that costs a lot of money. The packaging, the shipping, just all of that. So it's really a whole series of learning how to put together the perfect subscription box with what are you going to put in it? How can those items be cost effective? We've got to have a stable profit margin because we have to make this a sustainable business. We can't give away everything for free. We cannot do this for free. And when you look at these larger subscriptions that say you get $300 worth of stuff for $49.99, like that's not sustainable for us. And we have to stop comparing ourselves to that. Especially, this is why I want you to niche down, because we're very specific and we're for a specific person that's going to value what's in your subscription box. So it's buying correctly, ordering in bulk, buying packaging correctly. And there's a lot of different, nuances to packaging, and really marketing that to the right person and not trying to be for everyone. And if you can really get into that sweet spot of curating a really great box and having a stable profit margin on it, you're going to win. You're going to win on month one. And then those payments are going to hit month two, and you're just going to keep that steady growth going. And you're always going to have cancellations. So that's always going to be, that's part of your business model. You're going to have cancellations. It happens every month. But if we can keep our churn down and our retention rate up, this could be a very viable, long-term, stable business for you.
Yeah. I definitely see that. And yeah, I can understand the concerns that business owners have as far as, is this going to be profitable? Is this going to be sustainable? And yeah, I see how it can definitely be that way. Now, I know you've dealt with, of course, a lot of businesses. And of course, just looking at your own business from when you started this off, I'm always a huge advocate of learning from the mistakes of other businesses so that, you don't have to make those same mistakes. What would you say are the top 3 mistakes that you've seen subscription box owners have made or that you have made, and how would you avoid them?
Number 1 would be not building an audience.
Okay.
It's really hard to sell something if you don't have someone to sell it to. And so I think e-commerce owners or any business owners in general tend to skip this part because it's not the fun, sexy part of having a business. It's hard. And sometimes it feels like you're watching your front lawn grow. But it is the most essential part of building your business, and you have to take time for it. And you have to be super consistent at it. We can't just lob a subscription box or a product or anything else out there and just expect because you created it that someone's going to come buy it. We can't do that. And that's really where I see the most challenging is when people just want to do the fun thing. They want to create the box, they want to create the packaging, but they don't want to build the audience, and they fall flat every time. And I'll say, what did you do to build your audience? Well, I have 300 Facebook followers. That's not going to get it.
Right,
So
right.
that's really the first thing. The second thing is that we really have got to stick to a product budget. When we're building a subscription box, we tend to want to add one more thing. Oh, let me add one more thing. This will make it really
Right.
great. And by the time we're done, we've lost all of our profit margins in it. And so we've got to really stick to our budgeting with packaging. We've got to stick to our budgeting with products. And we've got to just make sure that we know our numbers, and that we're calculating them anytime we adjust anything. And like I said, packaging matters. Do we need fully custom packaging? No, we don't when we're first starting. Do we need like giant boxes so no matter what I pick, it'll fit? No, we don't, because that's going to cost you more money in shipping. It's going to cost you more money in filler to fill that box. So we have to be really strategic in those things. And so I think it's building our audience, buying wise, and not even thinking about packaging until you've done those two things. You figured out your audience and you figure out what you want to put in it. What I see people, they just want to create packaging. I'm like, what are you doing? You
I
don't
can
even
see
know
that.
what size box you need. You don't even know
Exactly.
like why are we, that's the fun part, but it's not the realistic part. And so for people that already have product-based business, it's so much easier to get started because you already have an audience. You already have data driven in your business. And so you can say, okay, I'm going to look at 2024 and what were my top 10 bestsellers of the year? Let me look at that. Let me see what pattern I'm seeing. What are my customers repeat buying? Go click on your customers that you've made the most money on from the year and just look at all their purchases for the year. What are they repeat buying? That's going to tell you a lot about what people want reoccurring. And then I do this thing called a 6 and 60 workshop where I lay out 6 subscription boxes in 60 minutes by just a very quick brainstorm based on those few things. Could I go January, February, March, April, May, June? What is that ideal customer thinking in January? What are they thinking and feeling and doing in February? What are they thinking, feeling, and doing in March? And now I've got Post-it notes and I'm jotting down things, and I've got this done, and I do it like a timer so that I can't overthink it, because that's what we want to do. We overthink
Yeah.
every little thing. And I'll look at that at the end of that timer and I'll think, okay, this makes sense for March because my ideal customer, who is a Southern busy mom, what are they doing in March? They got kids on spring break. They're probably traveling. Their wardrobe is changing. We live in the South. The cold months are now ending. It's becoming warm. We only have about 3 months of cold. So their wardrobes are changing. So in March, I'm thinking I could create a travel box. I could create, going from long sleeves to short sleeves. I could create some fun spring accessories. So if you take each month and really drill down to what your ideal customer is thinking, feeling, and doing in each of those months, you can literally lay out a plan. And then once you have that plan, let's start looking at logistics. Let's start looking at buying product. Let's start looking at packaging, knowing what I want to put in this. What's the best size that I can get to fill, all these would fill, what does custom packaging look like? What does basic packaging look like? And let's start to run the numbers before we make any moves at all. And I think that's what we have to see. We have to lay it out for ourselves.
Yeah, I get it, and I can see how businesses, digging into the weeds of the business and looking at the data. Yeah, it's not the fun stuff. They'd rather just jump right into just creating these really cool packages and just throwing it out there. But yeah, it's that could really burn a lot of time and money really quickly. So I definitely understand where you're coming from, where you have to look at the data because it's going to be all there for every business. You'll be able to see the repeat orders, how many customers have, purchased items on an ongoing basis, and what times of year have they done? What are these specific products that they've actually purchased? So it's really all there. It's just a matter of kind of digging through it and then getting a plan together, like you said, before even pulling the trigger on any of this. Sarah, as we get ready to wrap things up, looking forward, how would you see this whole subscription box industry evolving over the next few years, and what advice would you give entrepreneurs for them to stay ahead of the curve?
Every single year, subscription box industry grows, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
going anywhere anytime soon. What we learned in 2020 was that people wanted convenience, and
Right.
and what a subscription box service is, if it's done right, it provides a lot of convenience and value
Mm-hmm.
for the subscriber. And so I don't think you have to worry that it's this trend that's going to go away, but I want you to look at it as this stable piece of reoccurring revenue on to what you're already doing, right? So it's just
Okay.
another revenue stream. That
I
revenue
gotcha.
stream just happened to take over my whole business, which is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. If you had 75% of your monthly revenue coming in like clockwork, reoccurring every single month, think about how stable that would make your business. It makes hiring a
Mm-hmm.
no-brainer because you can afford people. It makes product buying so easy because you don't have to guess how much you're going to sell or if people are going to like it. What you're buying is
Right.
already sold in the box. It just stabilizes so many things about a product-based business. And if you don't have recurring revenue in your product-based business in 2025, you're really missing out on a big
Mm-hmm.
portion of this pie that so many businesses have gotten into. So if something you've been thinking about, or maybe you haven't even been thinking about it until you're listening to this podcast, it's time to really consider it because it is profitable. It does stabilize your business and it could be so beneficial for you. I know that we've gone through, like, I call it whiplash since 2020 as business
Mm-hmm.
owners. 2020 for product-based business owners was crazy good, and then 2021 things to start to settle down. Then we're into 2022 and 2023 and we're like, what do we even compare this to? Well, don't
Right.
even compare it to 2020 because that was a unicorn year. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's like finding your way now in this new world, this new way. People got used to the convenience of being able to have stuff shipped and picked up, and so I think
Mm-hmm.
we have to get on board with that.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely see that. Yeah, it's not changing. I think for sure now that people are accustomed to getting all of these things quickly on an ongoing basis and not having to think about it too much is really, it's just definitely not going anywhere for sure. So I totally agree. Businesses have to really just kind of think about it as being it could go a number of different ways. Of course, in your case, yours a best case scenario where it's really pulling in the largest revenue item for what you're doing. But it could, maybe not every business is going to get to that point,
Right.
but it could still be a sizable amount of
Right.
revenue that's
If
going
you
to
had
help them.
30% of your monthly revenue hit on the first of the month every month
Yeah.
and you knew you could count
Mhm.
on it, that's a big deal for a product-based
Yeah.
business.
That is for sure. For product based business, that is huge. Well, this has been an awesome conversation, Sarah. Definitely appreciate having you on. And I've learned a ton. I didn't know a lot about subscription business, box businesses, and it seems like it's definitely a really booming area. I definitely encourage e-commerce business owners that are listening to at least think about it, do the due diligence first, and then consider diving into it. But lastly, before we do close things out, I always like to switch gears so our audience can get to know you a little bit better. If you don't mind sharing one closing fun fact about yourself that you think we'd be interested to know.
Oh my gosh, one fun fact about myself. Well, this year I was featured in Forbes 4 times. So that's
Wow.
a fun little fact
Awesome.
about myself.
Okay.
Yes.
Congratulations
Thank
on that.
you.
That is definitely a big deal. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And so if any business owners or digital marketers want to reach out to you and pick your brain any more about subscription box businesses, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Yeah, you can find me on socials under How to Start a Subscription Box, or you
Okay.
can check me out at my website, launchyourbox.com. And I also have a podcast. It's called the
Okay.
Launch Your Box Podcast.
Okay, awesome. Well, we definitely be sure to have all of those links in the show notes so people can check you out. They can check out your podcast and definitely reach out to you if they feel that you can help them out. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Sarah. I really appreciate you coming on the E-commerce Marketing Podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the E-commerce Marketing Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know. Are you looking to take your digital marketing to the next level but are tired of weeding through countless YouTube videos with unproven and untrusted marketing strategies? Well, we have the answer for you. The More Sales Every Month online digital marketing course. In this information-packed course, you will learn effective keyword research, link building, content marketing, and much more to attract and convert your site visitors into paying customers. Just go to moresaleseverymonth.com and sign up today for a low one-time fee. In addition to this power-packed course, if you would like to get access to a growing repository of digital marketing articles, PDFs, and ebooks, check out getosi.com/resources and opt in to get full access to our library of priceless marketing information to help you take your digital marketing to the next level.